Hello, everybody. That is so funny. I was like, and I am here. Like, I'm here. Where am I? I'm here. I am here. Oh, so funny.
Oh,
And
we
that's
are so hilarious and cute
I
as we
know.
find our way through all of the technologies as we step into our great expansions and being willing to go first and be silly.
Yes. And I am, we are speaking into our words. And I'm getting this little banner up here because it was here. And I choose to know what's going on. Here we go. And there we go. Okay. So we are speaking into your word is your wand and manifesting miracles through your words because what we understand is how powerful our words are. And as we begin, so we're on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, and we are on YouTube all at the same time.
Amazing. And shall we introduce ourselves, Carrie?
Yes, that's what I was going to do next. And my name is Carrie Mushall, and I am with Embody Coaches.
And I'm Andrea Alexander, and Carrie and I are business partners in Embody Coaches. And we are anxiety experts and coaches. And Carrie and I met playing in consciousness and learning about how our words create our reality and the power of our words. And she and I began together because we had things in our lives that were literally ruling our world. And when I began to discover that my words carried power and vibration and energy, and that I could completely shift and change my life when I would willingly shift the words that I began to uh, speak into reality, speaking from my heart language.
And I remember hearing about language in the very beginning, and the part that I remember what rang really loud for me, what I really heard was when we were learning and I was hearing for the first time that all of my language that I'm using actually creates patterns, and it produces peptides in your brains that produce patterns, and that it's in your subconscious, and 95% of your patterns are in your subconscious, and 95% of everything you do and say comes from your subconscious, and yet we are all using 5% of our conscious mind to get everything done. And even our breathing is in our subconscious, and something we do every day when we go, like, I just, have you ever had the experience where you're going to go get coffee, and you go get coffee and you come back and you've done it every day and you do it in such a way that you're so used to doing it that then after you sit down, you ask yourself, like, did I put cream in my coffee? Did I put sugar in my coffee? Or something you do every day and then you ask yourself, did I do that? Because it's such an autopilot. And the autopilot is the subconscious pattern. And so you're asking yourself, did I really do this? Because it just automatically happens. So with just that example, I was aware of how many things I do that I imagine I'm yet to be fully aware of why it happens, why I have the same situations happen everywhere I go, why I keep running into the same people, why I keep finding myself in these reoccurrences again and again and in life. And it all made such sense to me And it also the biggest and the other part that was so powerful was they said when you're using your 5% as opposed to 95%, it's exhausting.
Yes.
And speaking about and that's how I felt when I heard it when she said, "And we're all exhausted in the world because we're all trying to get everything done through our 5%." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that I'm exhausted all the time." And
Yes.
that's when I came in and I just knew that there was more to life than desiring to go to sleep and waking up immediately asking yourself when you got your next nap, and it was all around my words. I mean that's epically powerful.
One of the things that I remember when I first stepped into playing in consciousness is she said, we require our conscious mind. It's for opening doors and feeding ourselves, because everything else is, it's called autonomic, meaning it just happens. And so 95% of what we do just happens. And as Carrie said, breath. And our conscious mind operates at about 40 bits per second of information it can process, where our subconscious mind can do over 400 billion bits of information per second. And so our subconscious mind, our brain functions like a computer. It takes zeros and ones. That's all it gets. And so what we've discovered is that so many of the words that we're using are either undoing what we desire or blocking or canceling what we really do choose. And one of the things that was most profound for me is, even if I is was the thinking portion of, because I imagine, well, if we don't say it out loud and we think, I'm not going to say that because something might happen. I might, every time I speak into it, it changes the trajectory, or it doesn't happen, or something goes wonky. It's because even still, our thoughts are still heard in our brain. And so for me, when I came into this, it was all of the things that I'd been thinking about and how I had been thinking of me, things I thought about myself and had yet to fully embrace and remember the truth of who I really am. And what happens is we have all of these experiences in our lives that shift the way that we feel about who we are. And one of my favorite analogies is a dollar bill. If you take a dollar bill and you tear it and you wad it up and you drop it on the ground and you step on it and you do the shoe twist, does it change the value of the dollar? No. And so we imagine we have lost our own value because of people being mean, people being ugly, accidents, parents, all of these things. And so what Carrie and I have learned is that we can reclaim our power, reclaim our value, reclaim our love in remembering the truth of who we are. We were born beautiful and precious and pure. It's never changed. What changed was what we thought about ourselves.
And in our words, which is I had a yoga studio for 9 years in Richmond, Texas, and was in the yoga industry for 19 years. So I spent a lot of time in mind, body, and learning meditation and breath work. And these are all very powerful modalities. And what I remember hearing so much about was manifesting, and how you're going to manifest what you truly desire, and writing things down to manifest them. And I remember the power of words even then were just to write them all down. But then what I also began to understand was specificity of what you're writing down, then the true depth of the words. Because when we are manifesting things, which we are manifesting daily. We are creating every minute of every hour of every day what happens to us next. We just don't believe we are yet to hear that because we believe we require writing it down and we require doing all of these things, which are all very powerful tools. And yet, every minute, the moment you speak, you are creating something. And so, just the power of, even when I got real detailed, okay, so what is it that I'm manifesting? Okay, well, I want a new job. I want to do this. And I want a new job. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. And all of the energy of the word want is where it's yet to be. And I even remember writing down, and then at the bottom, and so it is written, it shall be. Yes. And the want that's in there, the power of the word want has very little power. And it has, because it's a longing, it's a belief that you're yet to have. And we are to speak into existence believing we already have. Because, and that's a piece of receiving, being able to automatically receive. Speak as though you already have it. It's already coming. That's opening a gateway to receiving it. And so in using words that are much more powerful, I am, I choose. That's another one is I heard a lot of is I am peace. I am this. I am happy. I am joy. I am, which is all really great. And yet sometimes we require baby steps to get there because the I am, I'm aware of using it so much. I am joy. I am happy. I am, and yet I was jumping over how I was truly feeling, just jumping all the way over it. Like, do you remember, Andrea? Like, we just gave ourselves, because those are mantras and things we use, and we just jumped over. It was like, I'm going to get here. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. And yet, it was the remembering that we had some beautiful, gentle baby steps first. I love that because it could be that I give myself permission to remember my joy. Because, and another thing that I felt when I said I am joy, it was like a reach. It was like something
Yes.
that I believed I hadn't touched before.
Yes, and that's beautiful. Before I actually stepped into, I learned about conscious language and body language translation. I was doing a lot of affirmations through Louise Hay and How to Heal Your Life. And I was aware the affirmations supported me in feeling a little better. But I was also aware is if you say, if somebody says, I'm a millionaire, because that's what we choose to manifest or have in our life, there's this, I haven't seen it. I have yet to believe it. It'll never happen for me. That's all going on in our unconscious mind. And so when Carrie speaks about baby steps, we require actually touching the exact feeling where we felt that we couldn't have the wealth that we desire. And so what we begin with is I give myself permission. And the word permission itself is per my mission in life. And what that does is it creates this tiny space for which something new and different can come in, where the light can actually begin to shift. And I give myself permission to receive the abundance that I'm here for. And we play with already done. We see ourselves having, doing, being, enjoying all of the things that wealth gives to us. And there's also, I remember feeling wealthy. I remember feeling abundant. And then we become aware of things that we already have in our life that are evidence of our wealth, evidence of our abundance. Because money is something that man created as an exchange. And the universe has been providing us with wealth our whole life, yet we've yet to actually take it in. There are the abundance of nature is a great example. There are, I choose to remember the exact 100 billion blades of grass, more than that, on the planet, which means that there's something like 48 million or 480 million blades of grass available to every single person on this planet. There's more than 8 billion of us. And if every blade of grass is represents a penny or a dollar, we do have abundance in our lives already. And if we are saying what I have is not enough, how do you feel when somebody tells you you're asking for more, you're not enough? Are you going to deliver? And so this fear of not having enough or wanting of not having enough is us, our focus is on not enough. The universe is saying, oh, they're ordering more, not enough. We got it. Here's your order. Here's more. Oh, not enough again. Here we go. And so when we shift and give ourselves permission to remember our abundance and see everything in our awareness as I created that. I gave myself that. This is a gift I gave me. Even leftovers can become something glorious. A remembering of being with friends and family. And I give myself even more ease in how I feed me today.
And I believe grass is such an interesting analogy to look at because we walk outside and we see it every day.
Yes.
It's stuff that to what I was saying, to step over. It's stuff that we've stepped over, that we've yet to actually recognize. And yet in the world, when we step outside, there's so many things that can remind us of exactly that, of abundance, and that we do have it, and then it's accessible. It's just what we like to call evidence. It's evidence that it is accessible to all of us, even though your family have maybe yet to experience that. But every word we say creates where we are. And so one of the things I choose to share when I first came into this, one of the things I came into is frustration. And I had a lot of anger and frustration. And yet I ran a yoga studio. I was completely zen. And I laugh when I tell people that anger was my first thing. People always are the what? You? Huh? You? And I'm like, yes, it was go ask my children. I mean, ask my children. Because it was the go-to when I was in a situation that I would get frustrated or I would get mad. And so what I discovered was my massive belief in that was the way to get things done. My mother used to do that where she would just get instantly frustrated and mad. I'll do it. She'd do that, or she'd go, why wouldn't you could just do it and instantaneously at the door of something that is going to change, because that's what we're asking for in the world. We desire something to change. We're desiring something new, a new outcome, something to look a little different. We are requesting change. And so at every door of change, I would get frustrated. And so it was such a awareness to come in and go, okay, so what am I saying that is keeping me right here at the door of change? And I get here and I feel as though I have to get angry to get through it. And how I was doing that in simple words that would keep me there. I have to. I'll do it. Fine. Things we were saying to ourselves, I've got to do this, got to keep going. And those are the things that were keeping me where I was constantly feeling frustrated, because I have to is just where I've left choice behind, and just where I believe that it's less than gentle. It's a definite forcing. I have to go this way. I have to get this done. If you would, and being able to meet myself in a completely more gentle way was just to be able to, I choose to move forward. I choose to do this. I choose to cook dinner. I choose to do that. I just remember my husband was like, choose, choose, choose. There's all these chooses. I choose to know. I choose to know. I choose to know. He was like, he got this mimicking thing when I started doing, I choose, I choose, I choose, I choose. It got to be a game in my house where everybody was like, oh, I choose, I choose, I choose, I choose. And it's the doorway that opens more choices, which opens more possibilities, which is our infinite access to change. It's our infinite access to possibilities. But we do it through choice. And choosing empowers us, which in a remembering of power, you're leaving behind all the frustration of having to force through. And I do remember really having to spend some time forgiving myself, because it was that push, push, push. And being able to forgive myself was definitely part of my journey. And how did I do that? By simply saying, me, forgive me. And I remember saying that over and over and over and over again. And that's being able to step into that feels so much gentler. I always laugh when we use the decrees, me, forgive me, or me, love me, something with the me's on the end, me, 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 me. It is all about me, me, me. And what's great is that's the 3-year-old self. That's the subconscious mind. And that's when you're speaking really into your subconscious. And that's the same thing when you're raising your value, is remembering your value. It will require speaking to the little subconscious 3-year-old inside of you, because that's the person throwing the temper tantrum at the doorway. Can't get through here. I don't fit through the door. Or open the door more.
Yes, and I love that you put change on the table. And most people, if you ask the room, do you love change? And they will tell you no, because it's going to be different. And what's so wrong with change? We don't know what it is. We don't know what it looks like. We want something different. We don't know how to give it to ourselves. We don't know what to do. And then when we make a new choice, whether it's to eat differently or behave differently or stop something or begin something new, all of this other relationship, all of this other stuff starts to shift and move. And my favorite analogy, though, I liken it to the staircases in Harry Potter. When they're going to their rooms of each of the houses, they're on the staircase, and if they're a Gryffindor, the staircase moves. If they're going to one of the other, Hufflepuff, it goes this direction. And so every time we make a choice, something in life requires shifting and moving to take us to what that is. How many times have you said, I can't stand this relationship. I can't be in this anymore. I don't know what to do. I'm so unhappy. And then the other person walks out, and then you're angry that they left you. You have been decreeing and saying and asking and praying for something different. Life just gave it to you. And so we have this belief that change is difficult because it's got unexpected, unknown, which is where there is great fear. And we've all had the experience of hindsight is 2020. And so when we have been decreeing and asking for and praying literally for something new and different, and it comes to us, we don't like what it looks like. You didn't ask with specificity. You didn't deliver your order with ease. And then all of a sudden, oh, I have this new relationship. I have a new job. I have this. I got all of the things that came to us in this massive blessings we received through COVID, even time with family, new jobs, new opportunities, slow down. And so when we will give ourselves permission to be okay in the shifts and changes of life, is one of the ways that we begin to step into living a life in ease. And we make it okay. Carrie spoke into 3-year-old. Our subconscious mind stays at the emotional level of a 3-year-old in perpetuity. Does it mean, and so your temper tantrum may be a 3-year-old. Are you a 3-year-old? No. But you're touching feet. There, something in you has been triggered, something emotional that hurt your feelings then, and it's still coming out because you've yet to move it. And what Carrie and I do is we support people in finding what that core is, what's the trigger through their language. Our language, typically we ask somebody, how do you feel today? Well, I don't feel. Okay, so where'd you leave yourself in feeling? What happened? Do you have a memory? And whoo, feels scary. And it's the only way through. And it's fast. And what's different is we are raising ourselves and our experiences into remembering the truth. So if you've been living in anxiety and stress and overwhelmed, your truth is you're here to live in ease, serenity, peace, to enjoy life. Somebody taught you something different and you forgot. So we're here to support you in remembering how your words create and manifest your reality.
And I choose to share that when I was speaking of my first experience with coming in, and that there was so much anger, the miracle that showed up for me, because I actually, as soon as I stepped in, I went on vacation after I did a week retreat in pure speech, in the language of our heart, which we're speaking into today. And after I did a week retreat, right after that, I was going on vacation with my family. And that's when I was so aware of how I had believed in frustration and anger and anything with change. And I went on vacation, and it was so funny because we were in New York City. And I remember that my husband was sitting next to me, and he would say something and I'd say, "What?" And I'd say something and he'd say, "What?" And we did this little dance, and my oldest son stood in front of me. Some of you may know Weston. So Weston was a freshman in college. He was standing in front of me, and he looks at us and he goes, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong with y'all? No one can hear anybody. What is happening?" And it's like this rage of like anger. And I'm like, and I stand there and I look at him. And I remember in the past, I'd start yelling at him. "You're disrespectful. You shouldn't say that. What are you saying? Why are you saying that?" And I would get frustrated. And I remember looking at him, and I immediately knew that what I was seeing was only the frustration that I had believed in. Some people call them mirrors. We call them thought forms. This was my thought form. Weston was right there in front of me, and he was totally showing me my thought form. And I remember looking at him, and I remember telling myself, "Me, forgive me, and I can love all my anger." Because running from anger, many of us, we have anger, but we run from anger because we don't like the way it looks. It's not very nice. I really shouldn't be doing that. And so love is the most powerful tool that we have. In our language, love is the most powerful tool we have. And it only takes one drop to transform something. And so I sat there that day and I looked at him and I stayed inside of myself, and I just kept saying, "I can love all my anger, and me, forgive me." Because was this about Weston? No, this was about me. And so I kept saying that. And then as we moved through the week, I saw it again. Something else would come up, and Weston would go, "Ah, la, la, la." And I would just stay there with myself and repeat my decrees to myself. I give myself permission to love all of my anger. And I stayed with that. And every morning I woke up a few hours early, which is very different. My family always wakes up, especially my beloved wakes up at the same time that I do, or before me. And I was up 2 hours early, and I would sit with myself, remembering that I could love all the frustration that had come up. And the last day, he slides me the suitcase, and I look at him, and he's got these tags on his bag, and it's going to send all of his luggage back to New York City. And I said, but will you take those tags off so that they send your bags to Texas? And he said, oh, okay. And totally shifted and was all happy. And then I spent the next 3 days with him where I was yet to see anger again. And that's the miracle that we get. That's what we create. We create a different experience. And then I was also able to be with them very differently because the anger and the frustration and why are you saying that? And that separates us from the people that we love. It's what we put in between ourselves so that we're not totally with them and can be with them. Because that's how he shifted. All of the scolding that I was raised with, that's disrespectful. That I could see that was really just frustration, and it moved nothing. And when I loved it, it moved. Now, is Weston anger free? No. And what I'm aware of is that anytime that I do see it, when I stay in me, it shifts again, and it just allows me to be with my family at a more intimate level and love my moments and really, really enjoy them. And that's a truth. And that's a truth that it was the first time that I ever felt that. That is the first time that I realized how I had separated because there was so much more available to me. And that's the only way I was able to touch it. And so this is the power of manifesting, is it brings us to our miracle. And we may be yet to know what the miracle is, but we definitely, the moment we touch it, we are aware. The moment that he did that bag, I owned that. I said, woo, here's my miracle. He hears me, I hear him, and we're together. It's amazing.
Awesome. And so if anything that you have heard here today resonates with you, that is exciting for you, that feels amazing for you, raises interest, or if you have questions about anything that Carrie and I do, how we be with our clients, how we be with our classes, our women in retreat, I empower you to direct message.
Let's clarify though. We're yet to clarify. We do one-on-one calls.
Yes.
And we do monthly classes. And we do monthly classes via Zoom so that we have people all over the US. Andrea's in Houston and I'm in Liberty Hill, Texas now. And we still have access to people with Zoom all over the US that hop on our calls, and we do right now we're doing every Tuesday night from 6:30 to 8 Central. And we are just completing one coming up that's moving your burdens into your blessings and transforming what we were given in life. And we do different things every month. In January, we're going to be coming up with the money class, which is that money class. Woo, that's a powerful money class because we find all the language in the way where money doesn't grow on trees and all the little sayings that our parents said that are actually keeping us from creating the wealth that we desire. And so we do one-on-one classes, one-on-one calls, we do group classes, and then we do our retreat. Our retreat takes place in Canyon Lake, Texas. And we are having a retreat at the very end of October. It's a Monday through Friday. And so it's the 23rd through the 27th. Is that correct?
No, the 24th through the 28th.
24th through the 28th. Thank you. The 24th through the 28th. And these are different ways that we play, and we support people in finding, and in the words in which they speak, in the first few words, we can actually find the pattern that's been playing in your life. And being able to shift your language, as you heard us reference, just choosing new words and decrees repeating over and over again. You heard me speak into how I would repeat with Weston in front of me with my son, and how that transformed. And what it did is it creates a new pattern in my subconscious. And now the doorway to change creates ease instead of lashing and anger and frustration. And these are the things that we change and we play with. So if you've heard something today, if you go to embodycoaches.com, you will see that on there is a place where you can get a free consult, 30 minutes. And Also, if you go on to, I choose to add this. Let me go ahead and add something right here. Let's see how I can. Oh, look at that. I did a ticker. That's a funny word, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So embodycoaches.com/free lesson. This is where you can hear.
So the free lesson is a collection of 5 different modalities or domains of language. So we're speaking into trying, I can't, not, I won't, to give you an idea or a feeling of what's actually going on in your words. It's a great way to jump in and play. And then it's super fun, super easy. Take it with you to give you more of clarity in what we do and what we're speaking into.
I enjoy listening to it when I'm walking or when I'm doing something around the house, where that way you may have been used to doing something else, but this way you can go on and you can actually hear some great conscious language and some pure speech and how your words are really creating. And this is a great way to jump in and see. And then you can connect with us through a consult, or you'll find all of our information there. And we do send weekly newsletters.
You can you can, from the website, you can opt in to receive information. You can also see all the different ways that we have available to support you, including self-paced classes that are pre-recorded in our Evergreen program. So Carrie and I are constantly creating, and there's so many different ways to be and play with us. So we look forward to seeing you. If anything, and you leaned in, said yes, got excited, we empower you to follow your heart, say yes, and take loving action and do something with it.
Yes, and we will be here on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays at 8:30, you will find our vlog with Your Word is Your Wand, being able to manifest through your words and how you can use your words to step you forward in moving forward. And we'll start having guests. It's an exciting time for us as we expand so that the world hears our voice.
What we do. Blessings, and thank you for showing up.
Yes. Goodbye.